Hello, my name is Olivia M, and I have been asked to speak here today about the issue from my generation's perspective. I grew up in Takapuna, and after spending time studying in Wellington, I came home and worked at a local restaurant to save money for travel overseas, from which I have now returned to live here again. I would like the site of the Anzac Street car park to remain publicly owned until the time comes where we have the vision, resources and understanding of our community's needs to create a public space that can serve our growing local population in a meaningful way. I believe that when it comes to future-proofing our city, the deliberate creation of practical and accessible public space should be an absolute priority. Along with adjusting the ways we approach transport and housing to reflect concerns about our environment and population growth, we must also understand the importance of spaces that are created with the intention of best serving the community's needs. These are spaces where people can gather to interact, relax, be active, and enjoy art and cultural experiences. These are spaces that should not be designed by private developers. Faced with the task of preparing our city for the future, it is of course necessary to intensify the space used for housing. However, citing the need for an increase in residential dwellings in the Takapuna area as a reason for selling this public land is a cop-out. Houses will get smaller, public space will only become more valuable. Communities must be built around comfortable, well-designed and well-maintained places where people can gather and relax. I find the tactics that the Council has used throughout the public consultation to persuade the residents that this development serves their interests very disheartening. It has been a process that has involved a disingenuous mobilisation of bias, rather than the mobilisation of a community engagement on a level that is anything other than superficial. One sentence of the introduction page on the online survey mentions that there is development on the site other than a town square. People are led to believe that they are voting on a town square, when in fact they are voting on a huge development that will permanently and dramatically alter the cityscape of Takapuna. The strategy to position the town square as the focus point of the discussion is misleading at best. The fact that you use town square as a blanket term to refer to this proposed development, glazing over the 9-storey buildings that will dominate the site, only shows that you know how bad it sounds to say that the public land is going to be turned into private residential and commercial space. You can put glitter on the turd, you can tell me that the turd is a grand town square, it's still a turd. Residents are anti-change is a lazy, disrespectful and deceptive tactic, and shows that you are either not listening to what we're saying or you're simply ignoring us. Anyone quickly becomes anti-change when what is proposed is just quite obviously a bad idea. The town square proposed is not 3,000 square metres. That figure includes the lively laneways that will run between the tower blocks. Laneways have been romanticised after cities have made a concerted and very effective effort to fix a problem of no one wanting to spend time in overdeveloped, dark and uninviting spaces in urban areas. They are not the preferred option for enjoyable public space. They are an attempt to make the best of unappealing, century-old urban planning. In the case of the revitalisation of Melbourne's laneways, they are also pulled off with a good dose of genuine community consultation. I have another issue with the laneway spin. In Panuku's development framework plan, they note that there is indeed an absence of urban public space in Takapuna, and suggest that recent private developments such as the Mackenzie's project and 40th and Hurstmere are contributing to solving this issue. Those laneways are not meaningful public spaces, they are malls. As I expressed at the previous public meeting on this issue, I find it concerning and depressing that commercial value and social cultural value are being confused in this way. While doing my research in preparation for today, I stumbled upon an article about a New York-based urban planner, Fred Kent. He is the founder of the Project for Public Spaces, a non-profit organisation that consults with public and private clients around the world who wish to make spaces more people-friendly. His approach to urban planning is strongly driven by a desire to make spaces that are as livable as possible for people and communities, and he is driven by a passion for encouraging the beautiful interactions that take place in these spaces. When asked where he starts when faced with the task of making a space more human, he said, "We start by talking to the people who live there. We encourage them to think about what they like about their surroundings and what they don't and what they need. We're always told that so-called experts like star architects and designers know better, but they generally aren't at all interested in the actual residents. It's a matter of activating the community and getting it to take responsibility for and help shape its surroundings. We're not experts who come in from outside and tell people what they should be doing. The locals are the ones who know best." I have to credit local councillor Chris Darby, who posted this article on his Twitter account, which is where I came across it. But I now also have to ask the members of our city government here tonight, why, when you have an activated community telling you exactly what we want from our public spaces, taking responsibility, telling you that we know what is best, why are you not only turning a blind eye, but attempting to steamroll and deceive this community into accepting your preferred option? I did indeed find it a fascinating exercise scrolling through our local councillors' Twitter feeds. In so many aspects, their interests and values seem to align with mine. Both seem to present a strong desire to create a more livable and well-designed city that values people and the environment over bureaucratic and commercial interests. So it would be puzzling as to why they are in support of development that proposed building 9-storey blocks with a sad slither of public space, if we didn't know that the council needs money and the ugly patch of asphalt in the Heart of Takapuna is kind of worth a lot. It is often assumed that my generation is ambivalent when it comes to these types of local issues. That is not the case. However, we do find ourselves disenfranchised and demotivated when we see our government behaving as it has done in this case. The best word I can think of to describe it is slimy. How can we believe in a democratic process when an online feedback survey is so blatantly skewed to flatter the preferred option of our money-hungry council? We see our elected officials preach values of livable, human-friendly, thoughtful urban design, and then support the selling off of a space that has so much potential to serve its community in a way that embodies those values. How are we meant to respect or have any desire to participate in that system? I want to express my gratitude and admiration for those who are truly acting in the interest of the community and my generation. They are people who can see through the council's process of smoke and mirrors that seem to be designed to achieve a predetermined outcome, and one that in my view, and it seems many others, lacks integrity and any commitment to fully inform and listen to the community. The community group that has arranged this meeting stick to their values, even though I'm sure it's not always an easy thing to do, and I find that truly inspiring. I'll finish with a word from Fred Kent again. Credit to Mr. Darby for this one. Public space has always been the breeding ground for democracy, and we've lost sight of that idea. The point is to give public space back to the people. That's fascinating and marvellous at the same time. Placemaking is a natural human activity. We've just been prevented from doing it for a long time now. It is my view that voting for option 3 is the only option the Auckland Council has left us to save 80% of the public's land at 40 Anzac Street from being sold off.